So we have made it to day 2 of the Ascent of Targon Invitational, and oh my god, was this just this day was absolutely fire. You thought it couldn't get any better from the qualifiers, and then it got better on day 1 during the Invitational, and now we finished with day 2 with some absolutely insane gameplay from all the players here. Now, this particular game and the rest of them for day 2 are actually going to be casted by our lovely casters in crime, Casanova and Blevins. So they actually did the casting for day 2, and thanks to Team Liquid, they are allowing me to go ahead and put this on the YouTube channel. So thank you very much, and thank you to Casanova and Blevins for being the absolutely awesome casters that you guys always are. And with that said, their information will be found in the description below if you guys do want to go ahead and check Casa and Blevins out. They're pretty fantastic. They do fight night on Fridays. Every Friday, actually. I think there's every so often there's like one Friday off, but yeah. So, but with that said, we start with the quarterfinals, the top 8 here in the winners bracket. Again, this is double elimination. We have WindingGod and Brokenball, and obviously both players pretty huge names in the Legends of Runeterra space. So this is going to be a pretty amazing game. So strap yourselves in and get ready for Brokenball versus WindingGod.
The Pinky and the Brain or Vimer days, right? The dominance of that deck. And I don't really know if we've seen him in much representation whatsoever since then. And now with Lee Sin getting buffed in the last patch, it makes sense to combine those two. They're obviously both very spell-heavy champions. I mean, we saw Glop a few at a previous event running Karma Lee or Trundle Lee Sin, which also is a big one too. But we're getting into game here, Casa. Game number 1, the Ascent of Targon Invitational.
Going to be jumping right into this one. It's going to be WindingGod on Lux Aurelion Soul, and right off the bat, we're getting Brokenball's Heimerdinger Lee Sin as what we get to see him on. I am incredibly excited to watch this deck play, as, like you mentioned, Heimerdinger has kind of disappeared from the meta in recency after the rework. But with the Lee Sin rework, this is a very spicy list. And checking out WindingGod's mulligan here, considering keeping that Grizzled Ranger, that Remembrance, this is going to give him some good early pressure alongside the Shield Bearer, but instead opts to get rid of the Remembrance, trying to find a more just succinct curve of units. And he does do so. He's got the 2 into the 3, into the 4, and a couple spells to back it up.
I mean, this is like bread and butter WindingGod, right? Just play the curve, play it. You don't need to play anything too fancy. He's got the hushes. He's very deliberate with his plays. I mean, I think it, not to take away from other players, but it seems like WindingGod just plays at a different clip. Like he's got it planned out. He knows exactly what he's going to do, and he executes that very quickly. And it's, we haven't I haven't casted WindingGod in quite a bit, Casa, and I'm excited again. I'm excited to see him back in the limelight in the top 8.
Yeah, one of the great things that WindingGod does, and this was fully explained to me by Rattling Bones. I had a long conversation about WindingGod and how he constantly is forcing great draws. It feels like he just top decks things and he's Yugi and he has the heart of the cards and he pulls them, but he actively is trying to create these through his mulligan strategies to find the cards that he needs for each individual matchup. And he's so good at it. He's one of the best to do it in the game right now. And it is very exciting to watch him play. I'm glad that we have another opportunity to cast him. I'm always happy when we get to see him on our screen, but I don't want to take away at all from Brokenball here. He's a player that we have not had the pleasure to cast too often, but he's a very exciting player for me right now because he has had very consistent success recently, and he came in with a lot of hype from some of our fellow commentators coming into this tournament, and he has not disappointed whatsoever. And here's the Heimerdinger coming out, the first one of the day. We do see a lot of answers in WindingGod's hand, but 3 mana on Broken Ball. What are his answers at 3 mana? We got Twin Disciplines. Can potentially try to protect this. It won't be able to save Heimer from a well, actually, it would save him from a concerted strike as of right now. Yeah, Twin Disciplines is certainly going to be a great answer, and I'm curious if he's got it, because Winding God's going to make him have it here.
I mean, he has to have something, right? I mean, it seems so just likely that Winding God has some sort of answer. Of course, we see he's got multiple here. And Broken Ball doing the Winding God impression himself and playing Flash into Flash into Twin Disciplines. Of course, it's not as good as it used to be, Casa, but you know, getting 9 power for free is probably good, even if it doesn't have elusive.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, we saw almost this exact sequence, I mean, weeks ago on a fight night where Winding God went Flash into Flash into Flash into, I believe, Twin Disciplines on an attacking turn on 5 and ended the game.
Yes. This was merely 2 flashes, Casa. What an amateur move comparatively.
Of course, and now they're just fearsome, which I say just fearsome. I mean, of course, a bunch of fearsome 3/1s that you've generated by casting spells is quite powerful, but it doesn't quite just end the game instantly like we've seen from Heimers in the past. But Stand United pulled off of one of those flashes, going to be able to protect the Heimer. And guess what? 6 mana spells are very scary nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is a 6/1 elusive being picked up that is going to be played for free after rescuing the Heimer, swapping in a fearsome unit that should be able to free trade with this Laurent protege. This is incredibly big tempo for Broken Ball. A huge swing here. He already had the lead, but this is crushing for Winding God. And we're going to have to see how he responds. He has quite a few spells that can protect the protege, but he can't really create any big advantages from this spot.
Yeah, that's the thing about this Lux deck is that yes, it can present, you know, pretty big threats. It can get advantage. It can clear things off with lasers, but it doesn't deal with a wide board very quickly, right? Especially if it just doesn't care about what's on the opponent's side. And man, I mean, Winding God, there's many things to say about Winding God. One thing that can absolutely be said is that if he doesn't see a way to win, he will concede on the spot.
Oh yeah.
So to me, there's still outs here for Winding.
Yeah, there has to be. I mean, he is a known scooper. He will scoop if he knows that there is no out. He will always do it. And he has not yet, which leads me to believe that Winding God sees a path to victory still. And we see him accepting this block. He's going to go down to 2. But he does have the guiding touches in hand. So essentially, he's effectively at 6 after this attack with the healing that he has available.
Yep, and this is a you know, classic Winding God. I mean, just a classic good play of, you know, going as low as you can and being relatively safe, not playing around things that you can't beat. If Broken Ball has something like, you know, 2 Get Exciteds or a Mystic Shot and a Get Excited, you know, it's very unlikely that Winding God's going to be able to win anyway. No reason to play around them, and you know, is going as low as he can and will force Broken Ball to essentially break surf, make another play, and keep himself playing reactive here, which of course is just good Runeterra in general.
Yeah, I mean, Winding God going for the single combat, trying to potentially force out some kind of response, has the concerted strike as a follow-up. That can certainly allow him to guarantee that this Heimer dies here. I mean, we see the hand, of course, of Broken Ball right now, and we know that there's the Will of Ionia, but of course, if concerted comes up in follow-up, that will be able to remove the Heimerdinger.
Yeah, and this is, again, these are the small things that are putting Winding God back in a winnable position. I mean, if this goes through, or even if the concerted strike has to go through, it's another card committed by Broken Ball. He's not going to be getting a bot off of it. Lux will flip if both of the spells resolve. Actually, I don't know if the single
Yeah,
combat will
the
resolve.
single combat would not resolve,
Right.
so this would be a 5 of 6 for the Lux level up, but Guiding Touch could allow that to happen at burst, and wow, this is neat. This is an interesting play. Just getting the Lux off the board, not allowing it to have any of the ticks towards the level up
Right.
from this single combat.
Yeah, this is really interesting because I kind of feel like if you're Winding God, you're fine just saying okay here. Like your Lux goes back to hand. There's no attack token. You can replay it if you'd like. It'll obviously re-get the barrier. Yeah, this was an interesting one because it doesn't actually save the Heimer. I guess it just generates another bot, which might just be enough.
I mean, it's a 6/2 quick attack bot. It's another thing that Winding God has to deal with. He is only Lux on the board. He's only going to be able to generate a single laser this turn. Now, Remembrance, that's a great pull.
Yeah.
But it is a little bit scary to just hard cast that if you're Winding God. If there's another will or some kind of response,
Yeah,
you're
there's 3
you're
denies in the deck.
you're out so much. Yeah, deny would be devastating. That would be absolutely worst case. Before mana spent for Broken Ball, and your 6 used on this Remembrance, you'd only have 2 mana left to try and scrap something together and not die to the open attack on the following turn. So it's incredibly tough to make the Remembrance play here. And I'm not sure that Winding God will go for it unless he determines that he can't win unless he casts that right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks like I'm gonna go with the Guiding Touch first, just to get a little bit more information. Single combat is an option. But now I'm curious here what the play is because this is still dead to open attack.
Yeah, I mean,
That's concerted next turn.
he's certainly trying to generate a laser here. I
Right.
mean, we're looking for a final spark, probably just to remove the elusive. I mean, you do
Mhm.
also have to deal with this quick attack turret. Yes, that one can be blocked using the hush on the following turn, as well as the elusive. Submersible is online.
Yep. Where where does this healing go? You want it on Lux, but also you need to be alive as well.
Yeah, Submersible definitely is slowed down significantly by the hush. It
Right.
will not be very threatening.
Yeah, and all of a sudden this might just be an all right spot for Winding God. The hush is a pretty big development punish because it's a double hush into laser. You're gonna want to cast the hushes anyway, right? So it's not even a big. Oh, that one hurts.
Yeah, the Thermo Beam probably puts this out of reach. The Concerted Strike is no longer an ability, and the open attack is just going to finish it off. Broken Ball going to take an early lead over Winding God 1-0 as they move forward on with the rest of this series. Winding God's still going to need to find the win with Lux Aurelion Soul. Gonna queue it up once more. Now, I'm curious what the bans were for this game. We didn't get a chance to see just yet, but obviously we've seen Heimerdinger Lee Sin find the win for Broken Ball already. So now it's between Trundle, Aurelion Soul, and Scouts. And it's going to be the Scouts. So Trundle, Aurelion Soul was the ban from Winding God. He still has his own Aurelion Soul list with the Lux, but a Radiant Guardian picked up initially going into the Scouts list could be a solid keep. Radiant Guardian able to completely take control of the board against the units in his Scout deck. Very excited to see this.
Yeah, this is exactly what the doctor ordered for Winding God here. It's exactly what you want. You've got early drops, you've got the Radiant Guardian, you got some removal, and you even have life gain and now challenger units as well. I mean, this is certainly what Winding God is looking for here.
Okay, getting past the turn, not playing a 2-drop, wants to maybe get more value out of those daybreaks, but instead just going to take 4 to the dome here as Broken Ball wanting to open attack, play around the Remembrance. Maybe Winding God was
It-
even looking for a Remembrance top deck, wanted to make
yeah,
sure he could play that.
I think that is a really high level play. It does do that. It opens up for the Remembrance. It also effectively gives you a development punish with the shield bearer here, because it being a 3-2, yes, it's great. It trades 1-for-1, but trading 1-for-1 against this deck is not necessarily where you want to be. It can be fine depending on the board states, but in general, it's not going to be good. You know, the Scouts deck is resilient. It's got so much power. It's got the Relentless Pursuits where you can just go over the top, even if you're 1-for-1ing all game. Winding God knows A, he can draw the Remembrance. B, the 3-6 is effectively a fog as a development punish because Broken Ball's not going to want to attack. And Winding God knows he's got 7 life to play with that he might as well just take anyway because of the healing in his hand already. And you can't overheal in this game, so you might as well take that damage at some point to actually get value.
Yeah, and one scary thing for Winding God here that we see picked up from Broken Ball is that Relentless Pursuit. He has that alongside a Genevieve going into turn 6, which is pretty terrifying. Likely going to be used on, I would say, turn 7. We'll see Genevieve plus Relentless Pursuit try and
Yeah.
go for multiple attacks in one turn. And I mean, we've talked about it time and time again. It's all about that timing attack. When you're in a matchup like this that is rather poor, you need to find your opportunities, find your windows to push that damage when you're playing the aggressor, and the aggressor, of course, being the Scouts deck.
Yep.
And it
Yeah.
looks like Broken Ball thinks he can find a little bit here, which I think is reasonable. He has these heavy buffs from the double Bannerman that he's played at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Broken Ball, there's a little bit of finesse here in terms of what he wants to pull with the Fleet Feather Tracker. Does he want to... Okay, he actually just wants to go with the Fleet Feather Tracker attack, which makes sense. Going to save up for that Genevieve, the Relentless Pursuit turn. You want as much on your board as possible for the Relentless Pursuit and the Genevieve, right? So while Broken Ball could push a little bit more damage, could trade here and there, wants to instead save up for the biggest board possible for that explosive turn where he's likely going to win the game on the spot if it goes through.
Yeah, and I mean, Genevieve with the rally, with these buffs on the board, being able to level this Misfortune,
Yeah.
if it is not answered, is going to be a very scary turn. And if Winding God can't set up a proper defense by that time, this is going to go in the way of Broken Ball. Living Legends is going to be far too slow. That will be able to help swing the game if he can reach that point.
Yeah, that I
But
mean,
Winding God, I don't know if he gets there when I'm looking at the hand of Broken Ball right now.
yeah, the Living Legends, I feel like if you're getting to that point, you're going to be in a good spot anyway, or it's not going to be able to do enough. So it kind of seems like a win more, kind of a moot point there, but maybe not. I've certainly been proven wrong in the past with calls like that. Another star shaping is great.
Well, I mean, let's see here, Blevins. This is going to be it for Broken Ball, potentially. He's got the Genevieve on board. He has the rally on the back burner. And here comes the all-in assault.
Yep.
Winding God has the hush to try and mitigate some of this, but double challengers and Broken Ball leading with an open attack to then set up potentially the rally into the scout attack if he wants to. And Winding God already going down to, I believe that was 5 HP. Yeah, no, 4.
Yeah.
3 even. Jeez, I
Notably,
can't do math. Caster math,
this Ranger's Resolve is also going to be brutal because it's going to save the Misfortune, even though it got hushed. Of course, he could use another hush on the Misfortune again if he wanted to, but yeah, this is just going to be curtains, right? I don't think.
Absolutely. I mean, he wants to cast. He needs to cast Radiant Guardian. And then he's on 2 mana, and it just gets pulled to the end.
Yep.
And yeah, he sees it. I mean, he knows.
He
Regardless of if the relentless pursuit is there, that game is likely done.
Yep.
Winding God's gonna scoop, and that's a 2-0 victory for Broken Ball. He will be advancing winner's side to the winner's semifinals, and Winding God will be our first victim of the losers bracket. We'll see if he can make that run. We have seen him make runs in double elimination tournaments through the losers bracket before, but that is definitely going to be a tough road ahead of him starting in losers round 1.
All right, so Broken Ball actually taking it 2-0 to Winding God, which is insane. Obviously, you know, you don't really expect any of these matches to not go to 3 games, but we did get a 2-0 here, so we'll see how far Broken Ball is able to make it here in day 2 of the Ascent of Targon Invitational. Again, any information you guys can want on the tournament is going to be in the description below. Again, thank you to Cass and Blevs for casting day 2. Their information is down there as well. And as always, everybody, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope this works for you. Peace out.